Review meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Ms. Casvon?
Here.
Mr. Phillips?
Here.
Ms. Tanner?
Here.
Mr. Burke?
Here.
Mr. Kugel?
Here.
Mr. Bender?
Here.
Mr. Lachlan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, so let me give everyone items to pull. Under special items, we have ordinance calendar number 7882. That's number one. Number two is ordinance calendar number 7883. Number three is ordinance calendar number 7884. And number four is ordinance calendar number 7885. Under appointments, we pull number two.
And also number 3.
What's that?
Number 3 as well.
Okay. Pull item number 2, which is a resolution to appoint one member to fill a vacancy on the St. Tammany Parish Library Board of Control. We also have a request to pull item 3 under appointments. A resolution to reappoint 2 members to fill 2 seats on the St. Tammany Parish Library Board of Control. Nominations will be made and the vote will take place at the 7/10/2025 council meeting. Under ordinances for introduction, and you might see it under finance ordinances, item 8, ordinance calendar number 7892. Item 9, ordinance calendar number 7893. Item 10, ordinance calendar number 7894. Number 11, ordinance calendar number 7895. Ordinance 12, item 12, ordinance calendar number 7896. Do any council members to my right have any other items they would like to pull? Seeing none, to my left, does anyone have anything else to pull? And we have nothing else from the audience. Oh, excuse me. Mr. Corbin.
Number 16 under ordinances for introduction.
Okay, we pull ordinance item 16 under other ordinances, ordinance calendar number 7900. And we have 2 cards. One of them was to pull an item from the public. We have nothing else to pull. Okay, thank you. Going to special items, on all 4 of these, I'll read them, but I'll need a motion in a second to refer to the Finance Committee on each of these 4. So item 1 is ordinance calendar number 7882, ordinance levying parcel fees for the year 2025. Need a motion and a second to refer to the Finance Committee. Motion by Mr. Laughlin, seconded by, who was that? Ms. Casbon? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Item 2 is ordinance calendar number 7883, ordinance levying millage rates for the year 2025. Need a motion, a second to refer to the Finance Committee. Motion by Mr. Burke, seconded by Mr. Phillips. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item 3 is ordinance calendar number 7884, ordinance levying increased millage rates for the year 2025 for animal services. Need a motion and a second. Motion by Mr. Phillips, seconded by Ms. Casabon. All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item 4 is ordinance calendar number 7885, ordinance levying increased millage rates for the year 2025 for drainage maintenance. I need a motion and a second to refer to Finance Committee. Motion by Mr. Kugel, seconded by Ms. Casabon. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Those are referred to the Finance Committee. The next item is under appointments. Item 2, resolution to appoint one member to fill a vacant seat, board member resigned, on the St. Tammany Parish Library Board of Control. Nominations of Travis Thompson, Melanie Todd, and Madeline Nora were made on 5/1/2025. Nominees would like to speak. It's my understanding, and I believe I'm correct on this, that Ms. Nora has withdrawn. Okay. So, Ms. Thompson and Ms. Todd, you'll both be allowed to speak and have 3 minutes.
Stack of cards.
Excuse me?
All of these cards are for you.
And I have more cards. I will go with Mr. Thompson first. I'm just going by who was the first name, the second name, and the third name.
He actually put in a card.
Who did?
Travis Thompson.
And you were first to put in a card, Travis.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. Good afternoon, Parish Council. I'm honored to be asked to speak before you today. As you just heard, my name is Travis Thompson, and I've been nominated by Parish Councilman Patrick Burke for the Library Board of Control. Please allow for me to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm the husband of Hillary, father of Amelia and August, a lifelong resident of St. Tammany Parish, and a follower of Christ. I'm a project manager and safety manager at a local construction company in New Orleans. I have a Bachelor of Science in Industrial Technology from Southeastern Louisiana University. My wife, Hillary, is a practicing attorney, mostly in the area of domestic violence. I've been politically active since I was 14 years old. I actually met my wife volunteering in politics, but she was being paid and I wasn't, but you know. Together we have volunteered on countless campaigns, from a Supreme Court race, parish president, to U.S. Senate. We try to stay pretty active. Our family is active at Grace Memorial Baptist Church in Slidell. We live in Tanglewood subdivision and plan to stay in Slidell for a long time. Now, you'd probably ask me, well, why do you seek this position? Well, I believe our libraries are an important part of our community for people young and old. I can remember many cherished memories of my childhood being at the Pearl River Library for summer reading programs, checking out fun books, and other activities. The library has many functions and resources that are very valuable for the community, such as internet usage and inexpensive printing. My wife actually brought to my attention that many of her domestic violence clients use the library computer system to reach out to their attorney or compile evidence to avoid their partner or abuser having any access to it. First and foremost, our library should be a place where the minds of children will be safe and that parents can trust. I've spoken with the library director in a pretty good and lengthy meeting, Ms. Kelly LaRocca, and am told that great strides in the right direction are being made to improve. As a board member, I will assist her with this. However, I know we must respect people of all lifestyles, backgrounds, and political affiliations. And this statement will be taken into consideration when any decisions are made. I also plan on working with Ms. LaRocca to achieve the library's mission and vision statements. The vision statement of the library being to empower, enhance, and enrich the quality of life for every resident of St. Tammany Parish through services, programs, facilities, technology, and physical and digital collections. The mission statement being cultivating discovery, creativity, and lifelong learning by offering access to resources, programs, and services for everyone in a welcoming environment. As we know, no organization can operate without any revenue, with the library's budget being over $13 million. I believe my budgeting experience in my career will be a big net positive for the LBOC and the library system as a whole. As an example, I've heard great things about the genealogy section in the library in Covington. With only $7,000 spent each year on that, I believe that's money well spent.
Mr. Thompson, I'm going to need you to wrap it up.
Yes, sir. Almost there. Another aspect where my profession will come in handy is the upcoming capital project. There's projects. There's $3 to $5 million in capital projects approaching, rebuilding the Lacombe Library, expanding the Slidell Library, dealing with the flooding in Mandeville, and I believe my construction experience can assist in that. Lastly, the most populous city in the parish, being Slidell, currently has 0 representation on the board. And I believe that me being a citizen of Slidell is an important aspect.
Okay, Mr. Thompson, I'm going to have to ask you to stop. But thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you,
You're
Council.
welcome. Okay, well, let me remind everyone that's going to speak that you have 3 minutes. I don't believe in cutting people off if they're in mid-sentence, but let's try to stick to the 3 minutes or close to it, okay? Ms. Todd, Melanie Todd.
Hello, I am Melanie Todd. I am a resident of Covington. I moved here from Bogalusa, where I was born and raised, in 2012. I am a mom, a wife, a teacher, and a Christian, and one of my greatest privileges in life has been teaching at a local private Christian school since 2012. Since I have been employed there, I've taught kids as young as 10, and previously at the college level at USM, when I was working on my graduate degree, taught adults. I don't even know how old. We don't typically ask our students how old they are. But it was an amazing experience seeing children in their formative years when they're engaging with books and stories in incredibly meaningful ways, in ways that shape their identities, in ways that stick with them for the rest of their lives. And then also getting the privilege of working with adults who are starting a second career, adults who are juggling families and children on a full-time job while they're going to, night classes to try to make their lives better. And seeing the whole range of readers was an incredible thing for me. And it's, like I said, it's been one of my great privileges in life. I am a lifelong patron of public libraries. Like Mr. Thompson, I have these very fond memories of summer reading programs in the little Bogalusa branch library as a kid. I brought my kids to the summer reading programs when they were getting to be young readers, and just have wonderful memories of being there in the library. As an adult and a lifelong reader and learner, I am addicted to the Libby app, I have to say. I have checked out about 90 books over the past year. I track my reading from summer to summer, and St. Tammany Parish Library is wonderful, but not quite enough for me, so I go an extra mile and I pay extra for an extra library card through the New Orleans Public Library as well, so I can check out even more books. So I'm a passionate defender of the library as a place where the community can come together, where everyone in the community can find the resources that they need to better their lives, to better the community, and become a stronger community as a result. Oh my goodness, that 3 minutes goes by quickly, doesn't it? I do think it's really important that we take into consideration the community that we live in. Our needs in St. Tammany Parish are not going to be the same needs as New York City public libraries or New Orleans public libraries. But we do have a mission to serve the community in which we live. And it would be a privilege and an honor for me to be part of the library board so that I could help identify the ways that the library can serve our community even better. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Todd.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I should mention one thing to everyone. I should apologize in advance. Before I was ever nominated to this position, long before, my family scheduled a vacation, June 3rd to June 13th. So I will not be in attendance at the June 5th meeting, and I apologize for that. But this was planned quite some time ago. We're going to Washington State to hike Olympic National Park. So
Well, have fun.
apologize. Thank you very much.
Thanks for making us aware.
Thank you.
Okay, on speaker cards, I have Dr. Andrew Benson on this topic.
Oh, hey, good afternoon. Andrew Benson, Pearl River, Louisiana, resident of St. Tammany Parish for 45 years, I believe. Yeah. Regarding Travis Thompson, I support his nomination, and I support him for this. He's been extensively vetted in the past to a great degree, and he's also been vetted by me personally this past week. And my impression in all that he says, and I can find nothing to contradict it, is that he's a normal conservative male and not some radical. His thinking's going to be predictable. He's going to serve. We only have one conservative male on this board. That has for years been mostly female. Nothing wrong with that, but mostly female. Often left wing, often radically so, and usually from the west side of St. Tammany. Travis is a normal, loving father and husband. He's youthful. He's not some antiquated old guy like some of us and like me. He's from the east side, and yes, he's a committed Baptist Christian. I'm Catholic, but he's a committed Baptist Christian. I respect that enormously. He attends a real church, one that's not a radical church. It's not a social club. He holds a BS degree in industrial technology, which is a difficult course of study. It's a real degree, and it's not some made-up 4-year program of unemployable mind candy. He's a real pro-America, pro-family, pro-normalcy, lifelong disciplined Republican, like most of the people in this parish. He's not some latter-day conservative convert. He's not a rhino. He's not some last-minute convert to principled conservatism. Travis Thompson and people like him should be an easy choice now and in the future. Now, I'm going to go back to stuff that I like. There's a guy named Dietrich Bonhoeffer. He's a famous guy. He was a German. He was executed by the Nazis in April of 1945, just before the war ended. He was a Lutheran pastor. He was a writer. He was a theologian, a philosopher. He was a brave person. He was good looking, highly educated. He had everything going for him. And he stood against the Nazis, and he was imprisoned in 1943. And then he was charged with conspiring to kill Hitler in 1944 while he was in prison. So they hung him. One of his theories is Bonhoeffer's theory of stupidity. And there's 4 types of human beings, and 1 type are stupid people of the 4. We don't like them. You can't tell them anything. They don't know they're stupid because they're too stupid to realize it. I want you all to read about Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a brilliant guy, a Lutheran pastor. I'm a Catholic. We consider him a saint. Many of us do. So, sometimes you just have to break down and read a bit, learn things about philosophy and other people. And this might help you with your decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Benson. Our next speaker is, excuse me? Oh, I'm sorry. Our next speaker is Ms. Bridget Bennett.
Good evening. I'll just say, I thought about speaking on all the reasons that you should support Travis Thompson for this position, as he is a true conservative, a young Christian adult who is married with 2 little ones, working hard to achieve the American dream, something we as true conservatives promote and work to ensure all Americans achieve if they want. I also thought about saying all the reasons we should do this to make certain that our taxpayer-funded library in this conservative state doesn't operate in a manner which we view as unhealthy and unsafe for the innocent children in this parish. But then I realized that all of that has already been said. It'll be reiterated here today, and I don't need to waste any more time talking about it. What I will ask first is, it seems as though the taxpayers and voters were misled by some of you by your either very direct, publicly stated words or your seemingly strong indication during the March 29th voting cycle, when it was repeatedly said and indicated for all voters to support the library tax because you have reformed the library board of control to a primarily board of common sense conservatives. Well, I'll give you the conservative part. It turns out that a few of those appointed turned out to be as misleading as some of you on this board with an R behind your name. We have 2 true conservatives, maybe a third one that's up in the air, but one of those I hear that some of you are already trying to get rid of, and I find that disturbing. It's very clear to me personally that the recent change up of party affiliation of Ms. Todd, I see what it's about. It doesn't matter who you are or what level you're on. Anytime a candidate changes their party affiliation in the midst of an election or appointment, it should raise red flags and not conservative ones. So I'm just going to leave you with this. Our state, and specifically our parish, has lost all trust and respect for government, and rightfully so. Much of that has to do with being a rhino, misleading voters to believe you are someone you absolutely are not. People are watching more than ever. They're voting no a lot, and I wouldn't gloat on getting the ridiculous library and hospital tax passed because almost 90% of the people failed to show up to vote. Shame on them, not you. You have an opportunity here to prove you are who you say you are and who you portrayed yourself as when gaining votes from your conservative constituents. It's been a while since I've been able to say anything good about the parish council as a whole. And I'd love nothing more, and I mean this, than to post on my Facebook page, one of the community groups that I manage on Facebook, or on the East St. Tammany Republican Women page, that all the true conservatives of this board on this parish council voted for the true conservative library board candidate, and that would be Travis Thompson. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, next we have Miss Susan Willie.
Good evening. I'm Susan Willie. I am the chair of the RPEC board. I wanted to thank the 2 candidates that are running today for the library board, and also inform you all that last night, our RPEC meeting, we did endorse Mr. Thompson. So I wanted you all to be aware of that. We felt that his financial background would be an asset to have on the library board. We have quite a few teachers on the board, myself being a teacher as well, and we just felt that someone with a background in finance, budgeting, would be an asset to have. We also feel that we need someone to represent the Slidell Parish area. We feel that there needs to be someone on the board that can also represent that area. After speaking to some of my board members, we do have one question for Ms. Todd. In a recent news article, if you don't mind, I'm going to read it real quickly. Melanie Todd from Covington, who was nominated by Councilman Larry Rowling and was a Democrat at the time, but only last week switched her party affiliation to independent. That move was one aspect of concern for the conservative council member. So our question is, why would you change your party in the middle of this election? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Next, we have Miss Daphne Mizuraka.
Hi, my name is Daphne Mizuraka. I'm the president of the Republican Professional Women of St. Tammany, and we're here to support Travis. He's a true conservative, and we would ask that all the parish council members that were voted in as true conservative members as parish council people to keep their word and support Travis. I think he brings diversity to a much needed board with diversity. He's a much younger, he can bring younger views to it. Again, a lot of things have already been said. He's a project manager. He can assist with the renovations and the construction of the new library, bringing a lot of insight to budgets and everything there. And he has small children. He visits the library, and I think he would be the best choice for the nomination for the library board appointment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Ms. Iris Gallatin.
I'm Iris Gallatin. I live in Covington, Louisiana. I'm also a member of the board of the Republican Professional Women of St. Tammany Parish. And I also support Travis Thompson to be appointed to the vacant Library Board of Control seat. He is a Republican, a true conservative, and a majority, and typically a silent majority, of conservatives live in the parish. They may not be vocal like what we often see by the radical left in library board of control meetings, in parish council meetings, but many people are at home, you know, they may be raising their children, they're working, they're contributing to society, and they're not up here supporting, telling you what we elected you to do. Most of you are Republicans. We elected you to keep the Republican values in our library board of control in other areas of the parish. So that's what I'm basically asking you to do. I think Travis is a fine young man. He'll do a great job. Thank you very seriously for considering him.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Ms. Christine Lussinger. Did I say that right? I was close?
Close enough, close enough. My name is Kristen. Most of you know that I am one of the co-founders of the Library Alliance. I was not going to speak today because this is your decision. They both have their time to speak. But I see that we have a few of Mr. Kugel's accountability project here today to bring politics and religion into an apolitical appointment on a board and a library that has books on every single subject, that has conservative and liberal views all in the same house, that we get to come and sit there, even though I personally may feel one way. I've sat down with you, Mr. Kugel, for us to find some common ground. I am willing to talk to anybody. This is not political. I think we see where this is going. And I'm sure Mr. Travis is a fine young man. He seems to be a fine young man. I think that you should put politics aside and let's make some rational decisions that appoint people to boards that will protect the entities that they serve. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, Miss Melanie Todd, who would like to respond.
Thank you. I wasn't sure if I was allowed to respond to the question that one of the previous speakers had, but I would like to address that issue. First of all, I should say I have zero experience with politics, which is very clear because I'm not playing any kind of political games. I'm a passionate supporter of the library and I teach English, so it kind of makes sense. That said, I did recently change my political affiliation to independent. It had nothing to do with this because in my mind, the Library Board of Control was not something that an office that I was running for. It wasn't a political thing. Clearly, other people feel differently than that, and I was, I guess, maybe a little naive in thinking that this was an apolitical position. I changed my affiliation back to independent because for the vast majority of my adult life, I was a registered independent. It's very important to me personally to vote for the person and not the party, and it always has been. the person that I feel represents my beliefs and my faith most closely, that's who I wanted to vote for. And in recent months, I have been incredibly disappointed to see how divided our country has become at the national level, at the state level, and as we can see right now, at the local level, even in scenarios that really should not be politically divided. That's what we're seeing. And I envision myself on this board as someone who can be a diplomatic voice. Let me tell you, some of the heated debates that my teenagers get into over the meaning of a particular symbol in a novel, I mean, man, they can really go at it. And sometimes religion and politics come up in those conversations, and I have to be the mediator in the room. And I've gotten quite good at it, middle child. I'm quite good at navigating those difficult conversations and helping people find common ground. And I felt that my political affiliation should go back to my roots as a registered independent that values that common ground more than political division. Believe me, if I had known that this was going to become some political thing in this public forum, I'm not an unintelligent person. I would have done it a long time ago before I ever put my name in the hat for something like this, if I had known that it was going to be read as some kind of political maneuvering, which I assure you it is not. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Todd.
Thank you.
Mr. Kugel.
Thank you. Ms. Todd, I had just a question, because if you could, because there was this article that came out today. I guess you gave an interview, and I just wanted to clarify a few things and give you a chance to clarify. Because you mentioned, you talked about your political affiliation in the article. Just so I understand, your coworker, Ms. Georges,
Yes.
she resigned about April 7th.
Yes.
And shortly after that, that's when you changed your party?
I honestly can't remember. There was a little bit of a delay between the time that I filled out the paperwork online, not paperwork, but the online form. I don't remember what date it was that I did it.
And then you asked Mr. Rowling to nominate you?
I did contact Mr. Rowling, yes.
Okay. So I have a couple other questions, and I want to give my colleagues a chance as well. One of the concerns and this is something else that was mentioned in this article, obviously people are concerned about political activism on the Library Board of Control.
Sure.
And one of the things mentioned in there is this activist Facebook page, I would say, called the Alt National Park Service. It has about 3.2 million likes. It says it's the official resistance team of the U.S. National Park Service. It's mostly anti-Trump, anti-conservative posts, etc. And you mentioned in the article, your interview, that you were listed as a top fan. And then,
I didn't mention that.
Okay.
The reporter who contacted me asked me about how I got a top fan badge on this Facebook page.
Right.
And I explained to him that, first of all, this is completely unrelated in my mind to the library board thing. My family is a huge fan of the national parks. We vacation in national parks literally every summer. My children consider the Smoky Mountains their second home. My son is a junior and he's champing at the bit. He's like, I want to go to LSU, and then when I graduate, I want to move to North Carolina, because we just love the mountains so much. Our vacation, like I said, we're going to Olympic National Park.
So
somewhere along
Excuse me one second.
Sorry.
Let's get off of national parks.
No, I have a point in this. This is what I'm going to ask. So, if I could. So the reason I ask is because, some of the posts on this site are pretty radical. It talks about the Trump administration escalating efforts to suppress internal dissent and tighten control over information. It's mostly very political, and my concern is we have this whole concept now in government of resistance, in terms of resisting elected government. Would you see your role, and I can go on about all the other posts on there about South African refugees, everything else. Would you see your role on this board as resisting the elected representatives of St. Tammany Parish?
Absolutely not. And any engagement on that Facebook page is related to things like funny squirrel memes and bison blocking the road, because of my longtime interest in national parks and the National Park Facebook page, I like almost every single thing that they ever post. You guys,
Okay,
I'm sure.
let me stop you, Ms. Todd.
Sure.
Mr. Kugel.
Well,
wait, Mr. Kugel.
So-
We're getting way off topic with
Yeah.
this, okay?
Sure.
No.
You want me to respond?
No.
Okay. So I had some other
We've gone from the topic at hand, okay, to talking about squirrels, talking about the national politics of this country.
Right.
Okay? Everything but what we're here for today. So I'm going to end this conversation.
Thank you.
So I did have some further questions about her questionnaire specifically to the LBOC. I can let somebody else go first, but I did want to ask some questions about that.
If you stick to the topic, I'll let you talk.
But I didn't want to, did anyone else have any other questions?
Yes,
before I-
everybody else has other questions, so please make it short.
No, I'm going to go after them.
No, sir, you're going right now.
I'm going to go, then it's going to take a while.
It's,
Okay.
ask your questions and stay on topic.
Okay. So, I did want to give you this. Christine, if you could give her this. So I sent out a questionnaire to you,
Yes.
and you did answer within one day, and I appreciate
Yes.
that. And one of the first questions I had is 6 of my 13 questions were changed in what was sent to the council.
Wait, what was that?
And
The
I gave you
questions were
I gave you,
changed?
yes, 6 of my 13 questions, they were edited. And I'm just trying to understand why that would happen. Like specifically, if you look on there, it says, I have a copy of the original and then your response, such as my question to number 11, I asked about an attorney general opinion in my original question to you, and when you responded and what you sent to the council, which gave the impression that was my question, you removed the entire portion of the attorney general opinion and then you didn't respond to that.
Oh, I would say that was just completely accidental. I don't know.
Do you know why it happened 6 times?
No, I'm not quite
Okay.
sure.
Look,
so-
You're
look,
referring to.
we're,
I have.
Ms.
If you had
excuse
given
me one
time
second.
to read
Yeah, go
over
ahead.
these materials before
we are
answering the question.
we are getting way off base. Mr. Kugel, I understand that you're an attorney. I'll respect
I'm
you,
gonna ask
excuse me.
questions.
I'll respect you as a colleague, as an elected council member, okay? This is not a cross-examination.
This is, it's a 13.
No, it is not a
I have the
cross-examination.
right to ask questions. I mean,
Do it in an interview.
What is this?
I did reach out
This
and
is not
offer
an
everyone
interview.
an interview,
So can I ask questions or not?
and no one contacted me asking me
No,
for an interview.
Okay. So, again, I have further questions in my questionnaire, just for clarification. So would you like me to wait?
Excuse me one second. I'm gonna talk with legal.
Okay.
I think it's time that we move on.
So I can't ask the rest of my questions?
Mr. Kugel, so far, I believe a majority of this council, from what I'm hearing in my ears, are kind of like had enough of this,
Okay.
okay? That you want to continue on with it. I've got other people in the queue.
Well, and I'm fine waiting for them. That's fine.
Mr. Laughlin,
Go ahead.
I don't have.
you have your name up here. Mr. Strickland.
Yes. I was just curious, is this does the library board has to be a Democrat or Republican? Because first of all, I'm hearing all of this conservative and Christian. I'm a Christian, but when I see all this divisiveness as if in one party is going to get you to heaven as opposed to the other, I really take resentment to what people are saying, because I don't think anybody in here has any more personal relationship to Christ than I do. But what I'm seeing and hearing would make me think that it's more divisiveness, and you will get to see that this is not what this library board is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about having the best person for the position and not a party. So, and also not where you're from or where you're at. It's all about what's the best person that can do this job. And I just, the divisiveness is crazy that if the requirement said Democrat or Republican, maybe we could really do that, but I don't think that was a part of the requirement.
Thank you, Mr. Strickland. Ms. Tanner.
Yes, sir. I think we should move on. I think this should be something that is going to probably be discussed at the parish council meeting, at least the vote, and I'd like to move on.
My
Wait, Mr.
mother-in-law will be.
Wait, excuse me. Mr. Kugel, I have to say this to you again. You've been here a year and a half. You talk out of turn constantly. Ms. Tanner has the floor. Could you please stop that? If you want to talk, you put your light back on, but you let Ms. Tanner finish. Okay, I'm going to make a suggestion. Excuse me?
That is pathetic. He's trying to talk and you won't let him. Y'all don't want to.
Oh, no, ma'am. Excuse me. You don't have the floor. He's talked a lot. He's talked a lot, okay? Be a fan, that's fine. Let me make a recommendation to all council members, okay? And it's up to each one of us. If you want to ask Mr. Thompson any questions that get into how did he choose his party and what was he before, and do the same thing with Ms. Todd and so on and so forth, I suggest that you do it over the phone or in a person interview, okay? This is not the place to get into the National Park Service and which magazines. Is this one in AARP? I got rid of AARP because it was liberal. I'm a conservative, okay? But I don't want to talk about AARP right now when I ask Ms. Todd, are you a member of AARP, or ask Mr. Thompson that. So let's interview him over the phone or interview him in person. Thank you, Ms. Todd.
Thank you.
Mr. Corbin.
Yes, sir. I actually have one question for both people that I'd like to have, if you wouldn't mind taking the time to answer. In particular, do you have any specific concerns regarding the protection of children or other items that relative to the current operations of the library that you feel are still necessary to be addressed?
Thank you for the question, Councilman Corbin. I would like to start off with saying that, as I mentioned earlier, I did meet with Ms. LaRocca, and she had told me that good measures are in place to remove books that are not fitting to community standards or the state law. She had also mentioned that there are some books that have been moved preliminarily and that they're being reviewed. So I think that review process is important. I believe that, there's thousands of books and materials in the library, so there's probably no way to know at this time if they're all out. But, I believe that we should strive towards that direction of seeking those out. And also making sure that we're fair as we do that. There are other viewpoints in the parish. Not everyone has the same opinions, political affiliation, whatever. However, we need to make sure we're following state law.
Just to build on that question, do you feel, do you have any specific examples that we're currently are not following state law that you're aware of?
I don't have any specific examples of the library board not following state law.
Okay, you mentioned it right at the end and you finished that, so that's why I wanted to ask. Because this is, as a point of fact, the children's section, 0 to 12 years old, has been completely scrubbed of books with sexual content, and the teen section, 13 to 17, has also been scrubbed to the best of their ability so far, without going through every single book individually to go eliminate them, using library resources and using online resources. So those things have been done. So I think that's what Ms. LaRocca was talking about when she mentioned that books had been moved.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Do you want to speak with Ms. Todd as well?
Yeah, just the same question, and I'll
Sure.
repeat the question if you want me to.
Please.
Do you have any specific concerns regarding the protection of children or other items that you feel are still necessary to be implemented in the library's processes and procedures?
Not to my current awareness. So I do really put a lot of trust in librarians. They are, in my mind, kind of heroes because they do so much to foster love of reading in children especially, which as a teacher, that's very important to me. And protecting children is very important to me. I really like our current kind of compromise. I know that some people are not a fan of the tiered card system, and some people feel like it's not going far enough. In my mind, the tiered card system represents a compromise in that people on both extremes of, the topic, neither side was completely happy. But in my mind, that's an indication that you've arrived at a decent compromise, that both sides got some of what they wanted, but not everything that they wanted. And the tiered card system, in my mind, paired with our librarians who are experts in their field, does a lot to assuage the worries of people who want their children to have access to everything in the library, while also assuring people who want to shelter their kids a little bit more, a little bit longer, that their children are safe in the library when they are there browsing without their parents hovering right over their shoulders.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Kugel, you still have your light on?
I do.
Will you stick to the topic? Thank you. Go ahead.
I'm going to, just out of respect for my colleagues, I'll try to not ask the rest of my, I did have, just for you. Specifically, sort of along with what Mr. Corbin said, I asked about, and one of my questions was about age-type restrictions or guide, and you, if you remember, I asked about Article 5 of the ALA about whether or not there should be age restrictions or not, and you mentioned about there should be age-appropriate guidance. Do you believe that any books should be restricted behind the counter?
I think it depends entirely on the book, and it's one of those things where kind of like it when you see it. If you said, here's an example that comes to mind. This wasn't in the library, but this was like at Barnes & Noble's years ago. So there's this author, Sarah J. Maas, who writes like fantasy romance novels, and she's very popular with young adults. She has a series called Throne of Glass, and then a series called The Court of Thorns and Roses, I think. And in bookstores, when A Court of Thorns and Roses came out, it was shelved in the YA section. There were explicit sex scenes in that series, very explicit, like R-rated plus. But there was some uproar in the community, not just our community, but kind of like nationwide, like, oh my gosh, I just took my kid to Barnes & Noble and they got this out of the YA section and there's explicit sex in here, and I did not know that my 14-year-old was reading this kind of stuff because I thought that section was safe. And then Barnes & Noble responded by changing that and putting it in the adult section. So that's just like the first thing that comes to mind, because I am not intimately familiar with which books are being challenged at our public libraries.
I'm not talking about which section it's in. Do you believe some books, specifically sexually explicit books, should be restricted behind the circulation desk?
Sexually explicit books that would,
with
like, other
sexual
than
images.
Adult section? Well, oh, with images?
Yes.
I don't know. I think I would have to see the images.
So
I'm not sure.
so
Like if you're talking about, graphs of the reproductive system or something like that.
So just to be clear, can you tell me yes or no, do you believe that is there any hypothetical sexually explicit materials that should be restricted behind the circulation desk?
I mean, I can imagine that there are probably some, but I would need to see them in order to be able to say for sure.
And then the last question I had, when you mentioned about the library and the LBOC having a responsibility to identify sexually explicit materials and the distribution of new materials, and you said part of your answer is it takes a village to raise a child. I'm familiar with Hillary Clinton's book talking about that. And the library, the board, and the parents are all important parts of that village. Are they equal parts, or how would you say when you?
In raising their children,
No,
I mean, obviously, parents have the greatest
right. Should librarians ever suggest a material to a child that they believe that the parents don't want them exposed to?
Oh, I wouldn't go so far as to say that. No, I mean, that would be like me as a teacher, knowing that a parent of one of my students did not want their child to read sexually explicit stuff, and then say, here, you should read this thing that has a sex scene in it, which would be a horrible thing for me to do. It would be unethical. But if the parents have chosen for their children to have free access to everything in the library, then I would support those parents decision to do that for their children.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Kugel.
I'm not sure if I should actually sit down. Should I stay?
No, no, I don't have anyone else in the
Okay.
queue. I appreciate you going through this with us.
Okay.
And you may have a seat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Oh, I'm sorry. Need a motion to refer to the full council.
I make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Tanner, seconded by Mr. Burke. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Under appointments, item 3, we have pulled resolution to reappoint 2 members to fill 2 seats, terms expired, on the St. Tammany Parish Library Board of Control. Parish-wide nominations will be made, and the vote will take place at the July 10th, 2025 council meeting. Mr. Corbin.
Yeah, the only reason I asked for that to be pulled was just to help we remind people that these are 2 different tasks. Item 2 is one task, and that's nominations were previously made, and we voted on the 2 people, Travis Thompson and Melanie Todd. And then the second one is we actually have two positions on the Library Board of Control that are expiring effective June, and so there'll be nominations to fulfill those positions, and then they'll be voted on in August. Or, excuse me, July. Just want to make sure we had that clarification. We know they don't get commingled.
Yes, the nominations will occur at our June council meeting and hold over for a vote at the July council meeting. Thank you, Mr. Corbin. I need a motion and a second to refer to the full council.
I make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Tanner, seconded by Mr. Burke. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Under other ordinances, item 16, ordinance calendar number 7900, ordinance amending the St. Tammany Parish Code of Ordinances, Part 1, Article 2, occupational license tax, to amend Section 22-27, general definitions, and adding Section 22-51 to provide an exemption or reduced tax for veteran-owned businesses. Mr. Phillips.
I want to put it on the agenda, and I have nothing.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, who pulled it?
Mr. Corbin.
Sorry, Mr. Corbin and Mr. Phillips. I saw your name on here, Mr. Phillips. Mr. Corbin.
Thank you, Chairman. First off, I'd like to state, just so it's absolutely clear, I absolutely support our veterans. I think veterans, I understand the role they've played in the formation of our country, and I applaud their service and thank especially the ones, given that Memorial Day was just here, that lost their life as part of that service. My only questions, though, is my concern is, and I'd like to, Mr. Phillips can potentially answer some of these. We have 139 total businesses in St. Tammany Parish that have that are registered with Louisiana Veterans First. 31 of them have occupational licenses. We're talking about saving a potential $4,339.46 would be waived. That works out, if you just say that all 31 of those are going to get benefit equally, that's $371.50. At the same time, we have 59 businesses that are not registered. So we have almost twice as many businesses in the parish that are run by veterans that aren't even registered. So they would not benefit from this, but at the same time, they have not been paying taxes or paying their occupational taxes for years. It seems like we're working on a very small component of the world, focusing on 31 people. I've been told we have as many as a few tens of thousands of veterans in our parish. 20 to 30, I think, is a quote that's been used to me. So it seems like we're doing something that's having a very minimal effect for a very small number of people. At the same time, 21 businesses would be fully exempt. So if the 21 businesses, and they wouldn't get the full $439, if those were involved, that lowers the amount they're benefiting to $206.64. And that's not what the total amount is. So when you get down to it, we're talking about, and I don't have enough of the facts to be able to get the math all the way to the bottom. We're talking about providing maybe $100 to $200 worth of reduction in cost for veterans that are owned by businesses. And what's not being addressed, in my opinion, is the cost of implementation of doing that. There's a cost, I know I have heard a cost of around $4,000 associated with changing the software to allow this to be implemented. But then there's going to be, that is the de minimis component of the overall cost. The verification on an annual basis with the Louisiana Veterans First, verification in other entities to go make sure these businesses are still operational is going to be a bureaucratic, it's going to take a lot of bureaucratic work to go keep up with that. And if we had a process, Councilman Phillips, that was providing a significant benefit to a significant number of veterans, I would support it. I struggle with being able to support this one. I'm still trying to do my research and understand it, but it seems like we're spending an awful lot of money and going to have a lot of expense to go help a very, very small number of people. And the last comment I'd like to make is, the next question then is, what other organizations are going to line up and ask for the same benefit? Because we've dealt with a variety of places where our tax rolls have been reduced for a variety of people. Not saying that any of them don't deserve it, they shouldn't deserve it, they shouldn't get it, but this seems like it's the cost of implementation on an ongoing basis exceeds the benefit of doing this. So I'd like some further opinion or insight from you.
Thank you, Mr. Corbin. Mr. Kugel.
First off, this is not my ordinance, and I'm going to have to abstain from this because, but I think it is a good ordinance, and I support Mr. Phillips doing it. I'm a little confused about some of these questions because when you talk about verification, it's literally a website where you type a person's name in on the state. There is no cost to it. That's how it verifies whether or not a person is listed in the state database, which comes under a state statute that specifically talks about the program. I don't know how to respond with the small number reference. I mean, as any veteran will tell you, we regularly hear that we're like less than 1% of the society. I mean, that doesn't make us less important. I really don't know how to respond to that. And I mean, yeah, I want to defer to Mr. Phillips because this is his ordinance after that.
Thank you, Mr. Kugel. Mr. Phillips.
Well, first of all, last year when I wanted to introduce this, I was asked not to introduce it because we had a tax rededication and renewal going on and some other things like the millages going on and so on and so forth. So I tabled it for a year, okay? One of the things I tabled it for was, it was ordinance number 7558, sponsor Mr. Laughlin, and it had to do with first responders, getting a break on the, I think it was a homestead exemption. Didn't want to jeopardize them getting their fair share of a deduction on the homestead exemption, so I didn't file the one for the veterans. But they had every right to have that done last year, and I'm very happy to have been one of the people that voted for it. Now, I'm bringing this one up for the veterans, okay? There's probably a lot of veterans out there that don't realize that they could have this occupational reduction fee on their occupational fee. So I'm going to sponsor this. Anybody that wants to vote against it, they can, and I'm going to keep it on the agenda. As far as the small amount of how much money is going to be saved and how much money it's going to cost to implement it in the man hours that are going to have to go into it, I think that's totally irrelevant, okay, at this point. And I just take real offense that when I first showed it to a couple other council members, one of the first things is, well, how much money is this going to take away from the parish? Oh, that looks good. That's not that much, so it's a good thing, okay? Now it's not enough. I'm not given enough of a break. It's being challenged because not enough people are getting enough money back, okay? So somewhere in between is where this is supposed to be, I guess. I don't know. But anyhow, I will not pull this. I will let it go. It'll be on the agenda, and everybody vote the way they want. And I have two other veterans here that will not vote on it because they might have a conflict of interest. So we'll let it ride. That's it. And I do
take personal offense to this being challenged.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Phillips.
Mr. Corbin has his light back on.
Mr. Corbin.
I just want to make it clear, I was not asking you to pull it off the agenda. I just wanted more explanation to understand the machinations going on behind it.
I think the ordinance is self-explanatory.
I have the floor, Mr.
Okay,
Phillips.
hold on one second. Let's have order. Mr. Corbin.
All I was asking was to not have it removed from the agenda, not have it removed and not voted on at the actual meeting. I just want to understand the machinations that have to go on behind the scenes in order to make this happen.
Wait, excuse me. Mr. Phillips, let Mr. Corbin's, and then put your light on.
And,
Okay.
and Mr. Councilman Kugel may be able to answer this. Does the Louisiana Department of Veteran Affairs also validate the registration in good standing with Secretary of State and also validate the principal location of the business? Or is it only that they're 51% owned by a veteran, active duty or reserve?
Mr. Kugel.
So there is and Emily, I don't know if you got a chance to look at the statute referred to in the ordinance. So it first off verifies whether or not the business is a 51% ownership. And I know this only because I've had to do it myself. I think Mr. Burke has done it as well. But I want to get into a little bit of the cost. I've paid for an occupational license, as a lot of us have. I mean, the worst case scenario, if it's too hard for the software to implement it, once a year you just go in and let them look you up on the state database that says you qualify for this. And it's really that simple. I mean, the state maintains the database that says you qualify for this program of 51% ownership. All the sheriff's department, when they issue a permit, yearly has to look at is this person active and is this business qualified in this database. It's that simple. If they don't want to add a new software feature to where you can do it online, because a lot of us pay online for yearly, they can require they come in. It's no extra cost. So I think this is, going back to one thing we absolutely have to be clear with in St. Tammany Parish is that we are a pro-veteran parish. And I'm all about, obviously making it easier for veterans to have businesses here, but as mentioned, as Mr. Phillips mentioned, myself and Mr. Burke, because we do have a conflict of interest, we are listed in the database, we are both going to abstain from this vote.
Thank you, Mr. Kugel. Okay. I need a, excuse me?
Mr. Phillips, Mr. Corbin, and Ms. Casborn have their lights on.
Thank you. Mr. Phillips.
You know what? I have nothing else really to say. I think this ordinance is self-explanatory. I think it's a great ordinance. It supports the veterans, and I'm going to leave it at that. All you got to do is read the ordinance, and it tells you who is verifying that it is a veterans benefits. It's the state of Louisiana, and it's the federal government. And you meet those prerequisites, and you get to have the waiver on your occupational license. So, once again, it's self-explanatory, and I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Ms. Casborn.
Yes. I think he answered my question because I was a little confused because I think this parish does support veterans, especially in my area. When we voted for the homestead, the tax thing, my recreation district lost over $10,000 in fees, and my fire department was like in the 17 to 19,000, and because we wanted to give those veterans, and the parish voted for that and stuff. So I don't think anybody's opposed to it. Again, just figuring out how many, and yes, how will this affect the parish finances and stuff too. So I know how it affected my district, but we do support them, and the people voted for that in our area. So I don't think that's the question there, that we do support veterans.
Thank you, Ms. Casborn. Okay, I need a motion and a second.
Corbin and Mr. Phillips have their lights on. Mr. Corbin.
Mr. Corbin.
Yeah, very quickly. Thank you, Chairman. Part of my reason for my question is there are other verifications that have to take place. I was just asking, have we got a process that's going to go handle those other verifications? I recognize the simplicity of the one with the Louisiana Department of Veteran Affairs. That's not the one I'm most worried about. Secondly, I just want to reiterate, I fully support veterans. If you look at my career history, I spent roughly 30 to 35 years of my life working on things directly for people in our military. Projects, programs, equipment, tools that allow them to function and be safe as best they could in the environments in which they operated. It was not a question of my support for veterans. Those are the people I worked around day in and day out for the bulk of my career. That's not why I'm asking the questions. I just don't want us to go spend a bunch of money, spend $5 to save a dollar. That's my concern.
Thank you, Mr. Corbin. Mr. Phillips.
From what I understand, it's going to cost $3,000 to the Sheriff's Department to change the software to be able to accumulate the data or whatever to help with this waiver on the occupational license. I don't think that's an exorbitant cost.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Okay. Mr. Kugel, you have your light on.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't know if Mr. Corbin can clarify. I don't know what other verification, because the ordinance specifically says the verification is specifically just the state database. I don't know how I understand this is they verify you in the state database. Then when you go to apply for your occupational permit, if you show in the state database, you qualify. And I don't know what other, there's no other state verification, that's it. So the only other, everything else is handled by the parish after that. Unless I'm missing something, you could let me know.
Thank you, Mr. Kugel. Okay. Need a motion and a second to refer to the full council. It's a yay or a nay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? It's referred to the full council. Okay. Going to finance ordinances, we have item 8 through item 12.
No, we didn't.
We have item 8 through item 12. The law allows us to refer this to the Finance Committee, who is going to meet right after this meeting in Globo, so I don't have to read each one of them. So we have... I'm sorry.
Oh, after.
Okay. I need a motion and a second to refer in Globo to the full Finance Committee. Motion by Mr. Laughlin, seconded by Mr. Burke. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Ms. Burkell.
Thank you so much, Councilman
Yes.
Bender. If you see in your resolutions, we have several resolutions in regards to a water pollution prevention audit report. Those are items in resolutions 5 through 16 or Resolution Council Series C-7109 through 7120. We just wanted to ask Chris Tissue to come up as our Director of Tammany Utilities just to give a general, I think he walked out. He'll be right back, okay. Just to give y'all an overall general understanding of what these reports entail so that you are prepared for next week.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Tissue?
He'll be right back.
Be right back.
Yeah, Daniel.
Mr. Liner, you want to fill in for him?
Since this isn't an official agenda item here, we can do this during the finance meeting if y'all don't mind. So just so we can close up and
That's
keep moving.
fine.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay. Need a motion and a second to adjourn? Okay. Finance Committee meeting.